Today we will be discussing about simple interest. This is our first topic in general mathematics for the second quarter. So we have here some terms associated in this lesson, and we will be using these terms all throughout our lesson in business mathematics. Starting off with lender or creditor. This refers to the person or institution who invests the money or makes the funds available. In contrast with the borrower or debtor, this refers to the person or institution who owes the money or avails of the funds from the lender. So one thing that you need to remember with the difference about the two, the lender or creditor invests the money, while the borrower or debtor owes the money from the lender. That is something that you should remember regarding the difference between the two. The origin or loan date is the date on which money is received by the borrower. Time or term. This refers to the amount of time in years the money is borrowed or invested. It is also the length of time between the origin and maturity dates. Take note that the term should be in terms of years. In case in the problem the given is in terms of days or in terms of months, you need to convert it first in terms of years. So if it's in months, you have to divide the given number of months over 12, since there are 12 months in a year. While if the given is in terms of days, so just divide the given number of days to 365 so that you will be able to convert it in terms of years. The principal or P is the amount of money borrowed or invested on the origin date. Then we have the rate or R. It's an annual rate. It's usually in percent charged by the lender or rate of increase of the investment. And then we have the interest. This refers to the amount paid or earned for the use of money. Simple interest, I sub S, is the interest that is computed on the principal and then added to it. The simple interest is computed by this formula, I sub S equals PRT. P is the principal, R refers to the rate, and T refers to the time. Let's have an example. Suppose you invest 1,000 at 7% simple interest. How much money will you have after 6 years? Let us identify from the given problem the terms that are applicable as mentioned earlier in this discussion. So we have here, you invest 1,000. You here refers to the lender or creditor since you invest the money. And 1,000 here, 1,000 pesos is our principal. 7% is our rate. And then we have here 6 years. This refers to the term or the time. Now to compute for the simple interest, we need to identify the given data. So we have here P, which is 1,000. Rate is 7%. 7% in decimal point is 0.07. And then our time or term is 6 years. Using our formula, we have I sub S equals PRT. Just substitute the given data to our formula. So we have here 1,000 times 0.07 times 6. Using your calculator, the computed value is 420 pesos. P here stands for the peso sign. Now, 420 pesos is the simple interest or the interest you accumulated after 6 years. But the question is asking for how much money will you have after 6 years. The question is asking for the total amount that you will have after 6 years. To solve that one, we have here the final amount of money equals principal plus interest. You just need to add the computed interest to your principal. So since our principal is 1,000 and our interest is 420 pesos as we have computed earlier, the final amount of money is 1,420 pesos. This is the total amount of money after 6 years, and we have answered our question here in our first example. Let's have another example. How much interest is charged when 50,000 pesos is borrowed for 9 months at an annual interest rate of 10%? So here, money is being borrowed for 9 months, and the amount of money borrowed is 50,000. So we need to find the interest. Now to do that, first we need to identify the given data. We have the principal, which is 50,000 pesos. Our rate is 10%, or that is 0.10. And then the time is 9 months. And since this is in terms of months, you need to convert it in terms of years. To do that, just divide the given number of months, which is 9 over 12. And 9 over 12 is equivalent to 0.75 years. So, substituting it in our formula, we have here 50,000 times 0.10 times 0.75. And using your calculator, you may check it there. The simple interest is 3,750 pesos. So, the simple interest charged is 3,750 pesos. If ever the question will ask for the total amount after 9 months, then you just have to add the principal and the accumulated interest as what we did earlier. But since the question is only asking for the interest, then this is our final answer. By the way, do not forget to write the peso signs. Another example. How much was borrowed if the interest at 3% after 6 months is 300? The given data are the following. First off, we have the interest, which is 300 pesos. Do not confuse yourself with this as the principal, since it's very clear in the problem that 300 pesos is the interest. Then we also have the rate, which is 3% or 0.03, and the term or time is 0.5 years or 6 over 12, since there are 6 months. So 6 over 12 is 0.5. In this problem, we are actually looking for the principal. Now take note that the formula for the simple interest equals PRT. Using this simple interest formula, we can manipulate this to find for the value of the principal, the rate, and even the time in case they are unknown. So for the principal, we have here I sub S over RT. This is the formula when finding for the principal. For the rate, we have I sub S over PT. And then for the term or time, we have I sub S over PR. We are looking for the principal, so we will be using this formula. Let us substitute it. So we have here I sub S is 300 over the rate, which is 0.03 times 0.5. So multiplying the denominator first, we have 0.03 times 0.5 is 0.015. And then divide 300 by 0.015, that is equivalent to 20,000. Therefore, the amount borrowed was 20,000 pesos, and this is our principal. That is how you solve for this particular problem. You can just explore the formula given to be able to find the unknown variable. Another example. At what rate should 15,000 be invested in order to have a final amount of 15,750 pesos in 1 month? Now in this problem, it is looking for the rate. For our given data, we have the principal, which is 15,000 pesos. And then the interest is 750 pesos. Where did we get this? So just have to subtract 15,750 pesos and 15,000. Since 15,750 pesos is the final amount after 1 month, or in other words, this is the maturity value after 1 month. So to find the interest, just subtract this value from the principal, and it's 750 pesos. Then we have the time or term, it's 1 month, so 1/12 of a year. Now using our formula, we have the rate is equal to I sub s over pt. The simple interest is 750 and the principal is 15,000, while the term is 1/12. So 15,000 times 1/12 is 1,250. Then divide 750 pesos by 1,250, that is 0.6, or in percentage, that is 60%. Therefore, the rate that the money should be invested is 60%. So that is how to solve this particular problem. This time, let us discuss about maturity value or future value in simple interest. Repayment date or maturity date is the date on which the money borrowed or loaned is to be completely repaid. The maturity value or future value is the amount after T years that the lender receives from the borrower on the maturity date. The maturity value or future value is actually the total amount after a particular amount of time for which that money borrowed is to be completely repaid. And that particular time is to be identified or to be given from your borrower or your creditor. The formula in finding the maturity value in simple interest is this. So we have here A equals P plus I sub S. This is what I have introduced to you earlier. And we can actually explore this formula further. We all know that I sub S is PRT. So maturity value can also be solved using this formula, principal plus PRT, or we can compute the maturity value using this formula. But these three formulas actually will yield the same result. We can use any of these three to find the maturity value in simple interest, but most of the time, the third formula is being used. Now the variables here are A, and A refers to the maturity value. In other books, F is being used as reference to maturity value, but in this lesson or in my discussion, we'll just use letter A. P is the principal, R is the rate, and T is the time. Let us have an illustrative example. How much money will you have after 2 years if you deposited 10,000 in a bank that pays 5% simple interest? Let us identify the given first. So we have here the principal, which is 10,000 pesos. The rate is 5% or 0.05, and the term is 2 years. Problem is asking for the total amount of money after 2 years, or this is actually the maturity value. So we have here the formula A equals P times quantity 1 plus RT. Substitute the given values to our formula. So we have here 10,000, and then we use the bracket 1 plus parenthesis 0.05 times 2 parenthesis and then bracket. So in this case, you need to compute or you need to multiply first the rate and time before adding to 1. Please follow the PEMDAS rule so that you will be able to arrive at the correct answer. Now 0.05 times 2 plus 1 is 1.1. 0.05 times 2 is 0.1, and then added to 1, that is 1.1. 1.1 times 10,000 is 11,000 pesos. Thus, 11,000 is the amount of money after 2 years. That's how you get the maturity value. Another example, if you deposit 1,500 pesos in an account paying 10% simple interest for 2 years, determine the future value of the deposit. So, for our given data, we have the principal, which is 1,500 pesos. The rate is 10% or 0.10, while the term is 2 years. Substituting the given value to our formula, we have P is 1,500 and then bracket 1 plus parenthesis 0.10 times 2 and then bracket. So again, make sure that you need to multiply the rate and time first before adding it to 1. And the answer is 1,800 pesos. Thus, the future value of the deposit is 1,800 pesos. You can check this one in your calculator there. Aside from maturity value, we also have present value or P in simple interest. The present value is the amount A needed now to accumulate A in time T. Take note of the word needed now. In other words, the present value refers to the principal amount. So when you're asked for the present value, just have to remember of it as the principal. To find for the present value in simple interest, here is the formula. P equals A over quantity 1 plus RT, where P is the present value or the principal, A is the maturity value, R is the rate, and T is the time. This is actually a manipulation from our formula in finding the maturity value. So let us try to use this in our problem here. As preparation for Aya's college studies, her parents want to save an amount of 200,000 pesos after 3 years. If they decide to deposit it in a bank offering an annual simple interest rate of 3%, how much do they need to deposit now? So in this problem, here are the given data. First off, we have the amount, which is 200,000 pesos, since this is their target amount after 3 years. This refers to our maturity value. The rate is 3% or 0.03, and then the T or time is 3 years. It's very clear in our problem. So if they decide to deposit it in a bank, how much do they need to deposit now in order to arrive at a maturity value of 200,000 pesos? So to solve that one, using our formula, we have to substitute the given data. So the amount is 200,000. Then the rate is 3% or 0.03 and term is 3 years. Again, you need to multiply the rate and time first before adding it to 1. So 0.03 times 3 is 0.09. And then adding it to 1, that is equivalent to 1.09. 200,000 over 1.09 is equivalent to 183,486 pesos 0.24 centavos. Therefore, 183,486 pesos and 24 centavos is the present value of 200,000 pesos at 3% simple rate of interest per year. My dear students, that is how to solve for the simple interest, the future value or maturity value, and the present value in simple interest. You just have to take note of the formula and familiarize it so that you will be able to explore whenever unknown data from those formula will be asked.